right side is driving.
Player of the game, senior libero Lauren Riskill has control.
Championship district tournaments, we have it here on STSPN.
And welcome everybody to Starfire Sports Stadium here in Tukwila. It is the home of the 4A Boys State Lacrosse Championship, and we have a good one. The Eastlake Wolves versus the Skyline Spartans here on STSPN. I'm Perry Williams, along with my broadcast partner, Steve Sawyer. Steve, we've got two teams that know each other, and they have played each other in this championship game not once but twice before.
Yeah, there's no love lost with these guys. They know each other very well. They met each other earlier in the season, and that was a one-goal game going to Eastlake. Skyline lost by 1 goal, and they've met each other in the last 2 years in the championship. And so Skyline won 2 years ago, Eastlake won last year, and so this is the rubber match championship. 3 years in a row, 3 times in the championship. These teams are both the perennial favorites every year in 4A division.
All right, we're going to take, what do you hear, the national anthem? The national anthem. You did not hear it because of copyright reasons. But we are here at Starfire Sports Stadium, as we said, and we got the Eastlake Wolves taking on the Skyline Spartans. This will be our second of 3 games here in Tukwila. The 3A game against Mercer Island against Bellevue. Lopsided win, Mercer Island coming out on top, and I think that was a 14-6 score, and kind of a big win for Mercer Island.
Yeah, Mercer Island was coming into it fired up, and Bellevue was fired up too, but Bellevue came in with a little bit weaker defense than they've had in the past, and Mercer Island definitely took advantage of that and just ran away with the game.
Well, let's take a look at today's matchup real quick. As we mentioned, these two teams have met each other twice before. They met in the regular season, and let's look at the Skyline Spartans. They've got an offensive player that has been outstanding, and Mr. Kellen Hoke.
Yeah, Kellen Hoke, number 9, he leads the league in goals, he leads the league in ground balls, and he's the number 1 face-off guy in the nation senior year. He actually won the championship as a sophomore with his brother, who was a senior, and this is his senior season now coming into it, and he's looking to win this rubber match and win the third game or the third meeting of these two teams.
Let's take a look at the 2 goalies for each team, and both of them having pretty good seasons.
Yeah, number 17, Kevin Haney for the Spartans. He's a 61 save percentage on the season on 101 shots. They have a 6-2 record, and they're averaging about 6 goals against per game. And then number 19, Isaac Morse, he's got a 51 save percentage on 118 shots, but they have a 8-1 record this game, and they're looking at 7 goals a game on average. So both very stout I think they're helped out a lot by their defense. Both of these teams have very good defenses on the sticks, hands all the time. But both of these teams, really the story is their offense. They both have super high-powered offenses, and they're very intense teams, and you're going to see a lot of ground ball battles today.
All right, you're going to say a tough physical team or physical game today. Weather-wise, rain has been coming down here probably for the last hour and a half here, but it is a turf field. Steve, you were out there. How's that field looking to you?
So the field looks fun. I was walking on the field earlier, and it is raining, and it's been raining steadily, but it's not hard rain. All of the players have some pretty long cleats, and so I don't think footing is going to be a problem. I think really what it's going to be is it's all going to be ball control today.
All right, Skyline Spartans in green, and the Eastlake Wolves in their gray and black shorts. And Mr. Hoke, and I didn't see the young man. It's facing off against Hoke for Eastlake. And there it goes, and they're tied up right in the middle. Ball comes out, and Eastlake's going to come up. No, they're going to say there was issue with the face-off, so it's going to be Skyline ball, Skyline Spartans. And
so it looks like number 4, Joe Grzetic, went a little early on that one, so they give the ball to Skyline.
Skyline moving the ball around the arc. Behind the goal is Lucas Lanier. Lanier now on the wing. Colbert. And now making a run at the goal, and the cross-court pass. There's a shot right off the post. Caden Colbert rocketed that in, but it caromed off the goalpost.
Oh, Perry, he definitely had the corner on that one, but he was just unlucky and just missed and hit the post.
Now bringing it down real quick is going to be Leslie Brody. Excuse me, Brody Leslie. And Eastlake will have the ball.
So you see a bit of a difference with Eastlake's offense. They have a much more spread offense, and they have a lot of scorers on their team, and so they're going to have a lot of ball movement. They have a very fast-paced offense.
But out to Paevis. Paevis takes a check, dishes off to Sutter. Sutter looking to shoot, and it's going to be just wide.
Sutter with a great stick dodge on that one, but he wasn't able to put ball on cage.
Now here comes the Eastlake Wolves right into the crease. And right there is the good save by Kevin Haney.
A great pass, but Mason Orloff, number 52, wasn't able to handle the ball, and so it went right to the goalie.
Now come the Spartans. Spartans bring it down, and good check. And turnover as Joe Aisleby got a little check there and knocked the ball loose.
Yeah,
now,
great cross-body track by number 50, Joe Aisleby, on that one.
Come the Wolves. Gonna take their time as they get some offensive players in. They're going to pass it off to Sutter. Sutter.
So I think we have a little bit of championship jitters. I think everybody's just got to settle down, get in their settled offense, and get that first goal in the cage.
Sutter running around all the way behind the goal. We saw that with the Bellevue Mercer Island game. First few minutes a little bit rough. Here it comes Grzetic. And ball brought out behind and then into the crease. And
nope, Sam Sawyer was in the crease.
No goal? No goal.
Yeah, Perry, you called it, Sam. Great job on the goal, but he stepped in the crease while he was doing it.
Can I do that? That's that circle around the goal. And there is a goal by the Spartans. David Voigt just launches it in an empty goal.
So Kevin Haney, number 17, came out of the goal, and David Voigt saw the goal open. And I mean, the chances of him making it from that far out are pretty rare, especially with an open goal, but that's a heck of a shot. I mean, you're talking almost a 60-yard, 70-yard shot.
How rare is that in lacrosse?
I mean, it's pretty rare, especially at the beginning of the game. You see those at the end of the game all the time, but you never see them as the first goal in the game.
Yeah, the Eastlake goalkeeper coming out of the goal. So 1-0 our score, and then we have the face-off. And Hoke.
Number 4, Joe Grzetic.
Grzetic. Right there at the midline, face-off line. Battling for it. And who's going to come up with it? Ball on the ground. And Eastlake comes up with it. They bring it out over to Wallace.
So Perry, Coach Chris O'Doherty was telling me that one of the things that was the key to the game is that they wanted to control the ground balls. They wanted to be more aggressive on the ground balls because they figured that there was going to be a lot of battle with that in this game between these two teams, and they've definitely shown that so far.
Eastlake moving the ball around to get it on out over to Orloff. Behind the net, behind the goal. Wallace. Long pass back out on top.
So now you're going to see Eastlake spread out the defense for Skyline, try to get the ball moving, try to get Skyline to get off their lines.
Leslie, again going behind the net. Gets it off to Breacher. Breacher looked like he was going to shoot and then decided not to. Back to Oakes. Little dodge spin move. There's a shot. And there is a save by Haney.
I think Haney might have got a piece of it, but definitely hit the side of the net. He was off cage a little bit there. I'd like to see him get a little bit better angle, kind of take 2 more steps into the middle.
So Eastlake maintain possession. They're in the left alley. There's a shot from outside right into the stick of the goalkeeper for Skyline, Haney. So here comes the Skyline Spartans on attack. And trying to bring it down is going to be Aiden Cone. Cone taking a check and lose the ball. And Eastlake comes up with it. And they try to put a shot up and in and wide. And that was Joe Azelby.
So the reason, Perry, that ball's going back to Skyline is because when the ball went out of bounds, there was nobody past goal line extended except for the goalie. So they award the ball to the goalie, so it goes back to Skyline.
So here comes the Skyline. Field pass out to Cone. Long pass downfield. Now into the center. And there's a shot again off the goalpost. And that was Caitlin Lewis. Skyline bringing it down.
Yeah,
Clark, little spin move.
2 perfect shots so far, but both of them off the pipe.
Now it's Hoke. Hoke does a little left to right dodge and then puts a shot up, and it's going to be wide left. And Skyline will maintain possession.
So, Perry, you're definitely going to see a lot of number 9 today. Eastlake is going to want to limit the amount of times that number 9 has the ball.
Young man you said going to Utah?
Yeah, he's going to Utah. He's going to play lacrosse for Utah. Very proud dad.
There is another shot and a pass wide. It goes out of bounds. And it will be Eastlake ball. Eastlake making the substitutions again. And lacrosse, it's like hockey. You can make a line cross. And there was a big check by Caitlin Lewis over on Joe Alzelby. Stick right across the ball. And now getting a little chippy back and forth. And Lewis and Azelby exchanging some words. And there was another little shove.
So you can definitely tell that these guys are rivals. They don't like each other very much, and there's going to be a big battle all day.
We'll watch those two. It's going to be Skyline ball. Now ball gets loose. Eastlake coming up with it. There's a pass into the outside. There's a shot right in the middle, and this one goes in. Gavin Wallace with the shot. And we're all tied up. shot that, I think, just before he got into the crease.
Yeah, no, definitely. That was a great shot. It was great going high to low, finding the 5-holer just past his ankle. Nothing the goalie could do.
So we're all tied up 1 apiece. As our game, first game earlier today, had some goals, a lot of goals scored early, and then looked like both teams are going to make it into double figures, but the Mercer Island defense tightened up, and it'll be in a 14-6 ball game. 1-1 apiece now here in this 4A championship. Here's the face-off. And Hope battling for it. Along with Christic. And Hope coming up with it for a second. It's a ground ball, and both players going to the turf.
So that should be a loose ball push on Eastlake.
Yeah, that was there. Joe Alzelby there on the push.
So on loose ball pushes, it's just a change of possession. There's not going to be any penalties on those.
Hoke comes out, and coming in for him is going to be Caden Colbert. Skyline has the ball. Moving around in the back to Wallace. Comes around to the front. Pass out. And battling towards Colbert. Colbert has it knocked loose, and coming up with it is going to be Alzelby. Alzelby takes a check from behind, a little elbow check, and ball loose. Eastlake fans wanting the penalty.
Yeah, I
and
think
Eastlake
the refs
coming
might
up
have
with
missed
it.
the push on that one, but goalie comes out perfect.
Goalie came out, and right call as he made the save.
No, definitely number 3. He was going to put that one in the goal, and the goalie saw that before the pass happened, and the goalie came out to cover him. Great job.
Bringing it down for the Spartans will be Lewis. Lewis getting over the timeline. Getting it on out over to Colbert. Colbert, the number 7. That is Clark. And he rockets a shot, but off the goalie of Eastlake.
Brian Straw, number 20, got a piece of that on the shot.
So we Skyline ball. Skyline turns around, and that is Sam Sala turning around, putting a shot up, and it's off, and going to be a turnover. Eastlake controlling it. Long pass downfield to number 50, Alzelby. Alzelby. It's not out to Orloff.
Alzelby is one of their most active defenders. You're going to see a lot of him this game, and he's a very active on ground balls.
He's over to Wallace. Wallace, number 23, and there's a little shove in the back, not called. And over to Orks. And moving the ball around, Dylan Oakes. He's going to wait, pass it back, get it on out to Paivis. Paivis, front of the goal. He's going to roll to his right. Now passes to the X. Back over to Wallace. Ball up. Was that a shot or was that a check? It just went loose. But
no, it definitely shot. It hit off of Haney, and then it went into the side of the goal. So not a good angle. I would like to see him take 2 or 3 more steps, get it closer, get a much better angle. Just really not much goal to shoot at when you're that far out.
Skyline quickly bringing it down the alley. Then out in front into Lewis. And Eastlake right there. Oh, and it's going to be stolen away. Both teams knocking it from each other. Now coming up with it is going to be Clark. Clark does a little dodge, and he puts a shot up, a bounce shot, just past the goalie and in. Skyline leads 2-1.
And Perry, I don't know if you saw that, but Lewis, number 15, and Ozaby, number 50, they're going to be battling all game, and they're going to be pushing on each other all game. Lewis is obviously a much bigger player, but, 50, he's not going to back down.
No.
He's a strong kid. He's very active, but they don't like each other. And there's going to be a lot of battle between those two.
We've seen it, little extracurricular activity happening occasionally. Just watching those two. Now another face-off. Hoke coming out for the Spartans. Christic for Eastlake. 2-1 our score. Skyline leading. Minute 58 left to go in the first period. Ball set. There's the whistle. Ball on the ground. Hoke coming. Oh, had it for a second, and then Eastlake comes up with it. And it's going to be Cam Miller coming up with it. He's going to give it on over to Wallace, and we're going to have a timeout called with a minute 40 left to go.
Eastlake timeout.
Eastlake timeout. So we'll take a quick break. Minute 40 left to go in the first period. 2-1 our score. This is the 4A Boys Lacrosse Championship here on STSPN. Welcome back here to Starfire Sports Stadium. 2-1 our score with a minute 40 left to go in this first period. Skyline leading it. This is the 4A Boys Lacrosse Championship. And we had a lot of, we were talking in the break, they had the last score from Skyline. A lot of that set up between the play of number 15, Kaylin Lewis, and number 50, Joe Azelby of Eastlake. Kind of extracurricular activity, but kind of took the Eastlake player out of the position there, didn't it?
Yeah, and you're going to see a battle between those two the entire game, but that's exactly what happened. Is Lewis, basically all he was doing was really posting him up and taking him out of the play, so the other player was able to shoot, and that's exactly what Azelby doesn't want to happen. He needs to be able to be there for the slide.
Eastlake comes in, and a good little, it looks like an elbow check, knocked the ball loose, and Skyline comes up with it. Skyline goalie, Kevin Haney.
So this is going to be key for Skyline, too, because Eastlake has a really aggressive ride.
Meaning?
So when they're coming down for the transition or they're
quick pass down to Sam Sala, wild by himself just outside the crease. He just backhanded it in past the goalie, and it's now a 3-1 ball game.
So, Perry, that's exactly what happens when you have a really aggressive ride. When they're trying to transition the ball down the field and the defensive players are covering you, it's called the ride. When you have a really aggressive ride, what that does a lot is that leaves players way down the field on offense open, and that's exactly what happened. Is they had an aggressive ride, they were able to find someone downfield real quickly, and there's nobody down there to cover them except for the goalie.
Kind of like that backcourt pass in basketball with the player underneath the opponent's basket.
Yeah.
Wide open. He puts the goalie right out there on island. All right, we're set for the face-off. And here we go. Hoke and Gerstick. Ball loose, and Eastlake coming up with it.
So Cam Miller again with the face-off ground ball.
Ball goes into the corner. Eastlake coming up with, ooh, ouch. And coming up with that was Orloff, and he just took a big hit. But Eastlake holds on to it. 25 seconds.
Good job by Orloff to spin out of that one and soak up the hit.
Bringing it down is going to be Gerstek. Gerstek back of the net. Getting out over to Wallace. Wallace coming around. 10 seconds left. They get it inside, and there's a goal. And that was number 54, Mason Orloff. And we're all tied. Oh, no, we're not. 3-2 is our score with 8 seconds left to go. And that was a nice play.
Yeah, Eastlake needed that goal because neither of these two teams want to get too far away from each other. You don't want to see a 3-4 goal deficit between these two teams because they're both too good for that. And so you're going to probably see the entire game that they're going to stay real close.
Well, they needed to score quickly, and they did. 7 seconds left to go in this first period. And now Hoke talking with the referee, having a little discussion. Something maybe wrong with his stick? No. We're ready to go.
No, I think what they're talking about is they're talking about what he does on the actual face-off and the way that he's pushing with his stick, or the way that he's, they do what it's called a clamp, and so they're trying to clamp down on the ball. And they have many different ways that they can do that. They either push through the ball, they clamp straight down, or they physically push the player.
And Hoke, had it for a second, another ground ball, and Hoke gets hammered. Eastlake player goes down. And that's going to be it for the first period. So we got a good championship game going on here. Skyline 3, Eastlake 2. This is the 4A Lacrosse State Championship here on STSPN. Stadium as we go to the second period. It is a 3-2 ball game in the 4A Boys Lacrosse Stadium. And you're watching on STSPN. And you were talking during the break, Mr. Hoke, who is one of the maybe best in the state at these faceoffs, not having as much success against Eastlake this afternoon so far.
No, Joe Grizetic, I'm going to call him the Grizz. I don't know if that's his nickname, but it sounds like it should be. I mean, he's been holding his own, but what's happening is he's keeping him busy, and he's not letting Hoke control the faceoff initially, except for then. That's exactly, but he has to hold the ball.
Just, for a moment, ball on the ground. It's a scrum. And rough player on the ground. Who's going to come up with this?
So I think you're going to loose ball push.
You just knew where that was going to be heading somewhere along the way. And who got the penalty? And it's going to go against Eastlake. So Skyline's going to be bringing it down. And there's Hoke. He does a little dodge, and he'll pass it down far downfield. Gets it over to Sala.
Yeah, seeing what Hoke's usually he'll clamp the face off himself and get it to himself, but Eastlake has been so aggressive on the ride after that they're not letting him continue to have possession, and they're putting the ball back on the ground, and they're much more aggressive on ground balls.
Colbert now, midfield. He gets checked by the Grizz. Here's Tick. They're passing off over to Lanier. Don't see me who does have. No, it is Lanier. Lanier on the right side on the alley. Gets it back over to Sala to Colbert. Back up to Lanier, moving the ball around a theoretical circle. Little dodge left to right, and there's a shot, and it's up and in. Boy, that was just a nice move by Lucas Lanier.
That was fantastic footwork by Lanier. Great head fake, stick dodge, throwing everything into the pot with that one. Just a fantastic goal.
Kind of reminded me of somebody going into the key and just going left and right and getting that lay-in.
Yeah, that was perfect bob and weave.
It's now 4-2, and Skyline with a 2-goal lead. Let's see, Eastlake sets up. Here's a tick, and Hoke for the face-off. Here we go. This has been exciting. Ball comes up, and again, another ground ball. Skyline no controls this one, and they got it for a moment. And ball on the ground. And, there was some hacking. And
so we got a little bit too high up. I think got him in the helmet.
that was, I think, Joe Hauserby? Is it a? You got that one, but yeah, that was a penalty, and somebody going to the penalty box, or no?
Well, there should be. Number 2.
Yep, that's going to be Lanier. So Skyline will be playing with a man down here, and I didn't hear if that's going to be a 30-second penalty. So Eastlake will have an opportunity to balance the scales here, at least get a little closer. And see the umpire or referee.
So this is going to be Eastlake's first man down and first man down of the game, so we're going to see how they're going to run their man down.
Sutter has it. Move the ball around the net. Wallace coming around. Nope, the cross up. Digging it on over to Sutter.
Trying a little hidden ball trick from the X.
Sutter bounce shot right in front of the goal and in. Good ball movement that time by the Eastlake Wolves, and they got it right to the guy they wanted, I think, Nate Sutter.
So normally on man up, I would say that you want to take a little bit more time with your shot, and you don't want to take ill-advised shots. But when you're as dead-eye as Sutter was on that one, you might as well.
And you do get a pretty good bounce off this turf. It is artificial turf, so a bounce shot, really a weapon here in lacrosse.
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Bounce shots are a little bit cleaner, and so they're a little bit easier for the goalies to track, but at the same time, you can shoot bounce shots with so much velocity that they're really just as good as a normal shot, and sometimes even better.
So Skyline leading now 4-3, and here's another face-off. There's a tick, the Grizz, and Hoke this time coming away with it cleanly. And here comes Skyline. Skyline shoots a rocket, and that one was Lewis, just wide.
Yeah, see, on Perry on that one, I would have liked to seen Lewis kind of pull that back and set up their offense instead of just taking a shot from that far out.
So Skyline will remain possession. Lucas Lanier hold on to it. Kind of set up their offense this time. I guess it's akin to having a player coming down and shooting that long three sometimes, isn't it?
Exactly.
In basketball. It's lacrosse is, boy, just a mix of all kinds of different sports, I think. And now battling for it is, here comes Colbert. Colbert has it, gets it back on over to Lanier. Back over to Lewis. And there was a shot and in.
So Lewis just finds close side, top corner, goes high to high, just absolutely blisters the top corner with that shot. I thought that had no chance whatsoever, and just perfect position on that shot. Just completely faked out Isaac Morse on that one.
Had me faked out as well. I thought that was going to go, like you said, lie high and wide, but went right in. Makes it a 5-3. Eastlake gets it close within one goal, but Skyline comes right back and makes it another 2-up lead, 2-goal lead.
And then, Perry, you were talking about the mix of multiple sports. Lacrosse is my favorite sport, and one of the reasons that it is basically if you take hockey and soccer and basketball and mix those three together, that's what lacrosse is. I've been telling people that for years, but that's why I love the sport so much.
Well, I've enjoyed it so far, and now Mr. Hope coming away with another faceoff. He's bringing it down. Does a little dodge now. He's going to pull it up. No, puts a shot up, and it's going to be wide. And out goes Hoke, and coming in for him again will be Caden Colbert. Be Skyline ball. They'll inbound it. Eastlake playing some defense right on as they inbound it. And there was a penalty.
No, timeout on Skyline.
So Skyline calls a timeout. 8:37 left to go in the half. It is Skyline 5, Eastlake 3. This is the 4A Boys Lacrosse Championship on STSPN. Back, we're at Starfire Sports Stadium. 5-3 our score in the 4A Lacrosse Championship. Skyline leading Eastlake. I'm Perry Williams along with Steve Sawyer, and it's going to be Skyline ball on the attack. And Mr. Colbert has it on the right alley, goes back, find the goal, over to Sala. Sala brings it back out. Over to Hoke. Hoke's a big young man. He brings it down the right-hand side and passes over to Colbert. Colbert gets it on out over to Clark. Colbert puts a shot up and just in the corner for a goal. Past the number 19, the goalie, Isaac Morse. I think frustrated. I think he had a good idea where that was going. He just couldn't get there fast enough.
No, Morse was totally tracking the ball, but they just had perfect placement right at his right foot, low or high to low, just squeaks it past his foot.
So that makes it a 6-3 ball game. Skyline leading Eastlake.
And Perry, this is exactly what Eastlake did not want to have happen. They can't let this game get away from them. This is about as many goals as they want to be a part, so they need to get a couple goals back in the net themselves and even this back up.
So this possession probably real key for Eastlake right now. Grzetic and Hoke facing off. Grzetic in the gray and ball on the ground. Eastlake coming away with it.
Cam Miller with the ball again. That's his third or fourth face-off ground ball.
And now Eastlake bringing it done downfield. Leslie on the right side, right alley. Goes into the X behind the goal. And bringing it up is Wallace. Wallace takes a hard poke to the chest. And he goes the right-hand side. Over to Grzetic. Grzetic back to Sutter. Sutter now directing traffic. Kind of like a basketball play. Players start to move. Sutter goes to the right-hand side. They call the alley on the sideline. Now, do a little zig and zag. Nobody covering him. He's just going to come around the goal and puts a shot up, but it's going to be off the post and out of bounds. Boy, they weren't covering him at all. And he's saying, well, hey, if you're not going to cover me, I'm going to take it around and shoot.
Yeah, he had a perfect chance at that one. And again, great placement, but he just misses it and hits the pipe.
They get it back out to Sutter. Sutter, oh, what a great head dodge, and he turns around and shoots, and it's in. 6-4 our ball game.
So that's 2 in a row for Sutter, Perry, and Sutter's on fire. He's feeling it. He needs to get his team back in this game.
That was just a nice little head dodge. See, you see me head dodge? See, I'm getting the terminology down there.
Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, that's all they're trying to do is they're trying to get just a little bit of separation, just like you would in basketball where you can get a shot off. They're just trying to get a little bit of body separation so they can get enough room to get, some speed generated on that stick and get a shot on goal.
6-4, and another face-off. Hoke and Grzytek. Hoke for Skyline. Grzytek in the gray, number 4. He set up, battling for it, and no ball left on the turf, and Hoke realizes that first, comes up with it, brings it down, cross in front of the net, and that was right there to Clark. Clark was wide open in front of the goal, and I think he surprised himself when he put the shot and missed.
Yeah, no one to cover him except for the goalie, and he doesn't put it on cage. He's probably hitting himself in the face right now.
He'll probably score, 9 times out of 10 with that same opportunity.
Yeah.
But Skyline remains in control. It's going to be Olsen. And on over to Clark. Clark behind the goal. Now he comes up. He's a little left to right, and there is Eastlake defense. Ball on the ground, popping up, and that's going to be enough. Oh, the goalie slips and falls, and I
think he might have done an ankle on that.
Yeah, we were talking about this rain in the field, and he slid and fell. Now
looks like Isaac Morris tried to change direction, and he hurt. But then on the other side of the cage, you have a penalty.
See a flag, thrown on that far side. The officials having a discussion.
Yeah, so you got a penalty on number 28, Brody Leslie. It looked like they probably had stick high up in the face, and so he might have had an illegal cross-check into the helmet. But it was away from the ball.
This could be Leslie with Eastlake. This could put Eastlake with a man down here.
Yeah, you're definitely going to have Eastlake man down, so Skyline's going to be man up for the first time.
6-4 our score. Skyline leading Eastlake. This is the 4A championship. And I didn't think it was possible, even bigger crowd than we saw with Mercer Island and Bellevue.
So yeah, they give him 1 minute, Perry, legal body check. So they're going to be man up for 1 minute.
So if you're defense, what's your strategy right here?
So our defense, basically what you're doing is you're trying to track the ball, and you have to talk a lot. Communication is key on man down, and you're basically playing a zone because you're playing 5-on-6. And so you're just trying to move and slide to the ball, and you're trying to fill space.
Skyline moving the ball around that zone. Hoke has it out on top. Goes over to the right-hand side, over to Lewis.
And conversely, Skyline's trying to get them to move so much that
ball on the ground, and Eastlake comes up with it. Go ahead.
So they're trying to get the defense to move so much that they get out of position and they get an open man because they have an extra guy. So they should have an open man as long as they're getting everybody to move and they're not able to cover every position.
Eastlake coming downfield quickly, and that is going to be Sutter. Sutter. Now we're going to have a whistle.
So fantastic penalty kill. So now there's just a few more seconds left on the penalty, but great job Eastlake on defense and killing that penalty off. Skyline had a perfect opportunity to score there, and Eastlake stopped him.
Oakes has it now, midfield. He takes a small check. He's going to put on the speed, rolling down that right alley now. He pulls up, and a little stop and go. And now he's going to bring it behind the goal. Skyline quickly, defender checking him.
Yeah, Perry, all
Marcus
they're trying
Ball.
to do is run out the clock right now so they can kill this penalty.
And chasing him down is Ball. Dylan Oakes, good speed. And now he gets it on over to Wallace. Wallace getting hacked by Cone. Wallace will bring it behind the goal. Now bringing it back out.
So now we're even up, penalties off, they killed it.
And Eastlake crowd likes that. Paivis. Paivis going the right-hand side. Paivis looking, goes back. I thought he was going to shoot. No, goes to Wallace. Wallace back over to Paivis. Paivis puts a shot up, wide of the goal. Goes out of bounds. And this is going to be Eastlake ball. Wallace coming around. And now outside the crease, and ball gets run loose, but Nate Sutter chasing it down. He'll get it on up over to Breacher. And Breacher takes a big shot, goes to the turf. Play on.
So Perry, Eastlake's moving the ball really well, but they're not passing crisp. They need to pass and get the ball above or at the shoulder in every pass to make it ready to shoot every single time they get the pass. They're throwing a lot of balls at their feet, which doesn't help them.
Breacher gets out in front, puts a shot up and right into the stick of Kevin Haney, goalkeeper for Skyline. Now Skyline will have an opportunity. And that was a pass that went off and miscue Kalen Lewis. And that's one of the few times that I've seen a turnover, I guess unforced error, that the ball goes out of bounds.
Yeah, again, it's just passes at the feet. I mean, they're not making good, clean passes. They need to settle down. They need to get their passes at their shoulders. So everybody, it makes it easy to handle the ball. You start getting passes at the feet, and you're going to start making mistakes.
Zerdek has it now, bringing it around the goal of Skyline. Turn around, and he puts it in. Just did that by speed.
Number 4, Grizz, just totally running the wing. Gets position, gets clearance, gets it through the 5-hole, finds the back of the cage.
6-5 our score, 2:21 left to go in a half. Again, these two teams, this is the rubber match. They've met in the championship the last 2 years. Each team has won the championship. So this is the rubber match. They met in the regular season, and it was a 1-goal game, and we got a 1-goal game right here. So Grizz and Hoke face off. Battling for it. Grizz moving that stick around. Ball gets knocked loose, but coming up with it for Eastlake is Joe Azelby for a moment. Ooh, didn't know we got some pushing and shoving. Azelby and again, Mr. Lewis, Kalen Lewis, get mixed up.
So Skyline was able to get possession and call timeout.
So why don't we keep it right here? I had a question I've been meaning to ask. We got different size sticks. Offense and defense have different sticks. What's the strategy on that?
So because defense has a little bit of a disadvantage because they don't know, they don't have the ball. And so what they do in lacrosse is they changed the rules a long time ago to where the defenders have a 6-foot pole or a 6-foot long shaft, and the offensive players have a 42-inch shaft. And so what that does is it gives the defensive players a couple more steps on that offensive player to be able to defend them. And so it just gives them that little bit more separation because it's too easy if you're playing, both with a short stick to dodge with your head, face dodge or foot dodge. And so if you have a player that's slightly slower than an offensive player, it just gives them that little bit more of an advantage. And they did it a long time ago because it made the game more competitive and it just made the game a lot more fun.
I've seen that. And now does the goalie have the same stick as the regular players on the field?
So obviously the head of the stick is much larger, and that gives them much more surface area to actually stop the shot. But believe it or not, the goalies used to have longer shafts back in the day when I played, and so their shafts were about 3/4 length or a little bit shorter than a 6-foot pole. And now all of the goalies, pretty much every single goalie, has gone to a short shaft. So the exact same shaft that you see an attack player or a midfielder have, the goalie will have the exact same shaft length.
Now, how about the mouth of the net in his stick?
So yeah, so theirs is about 3 times the size of a normal head of a normal lacrosse head, and what that does is it gives them more surface area to be able to stop those hard shots.
All right, here comes Skyline. They lead by 1. They get it on out over to Sala. Sala to Clark. Back out to Lanier. They're moving the ball around. Minute 43. Would they be going for last shot here?
I think,
or is it too early?
Yeah, they're a little bit too early for last shot, but they're definitely going to want to spread it out because now they're within 1. They've let Eastlake score a couple goals to get back into the game, and they want to try to go up by 2 again. They definitely don't want to give the ball away to Eastlake.
All right, and now Colbert has it. He's going to bring it out. Minute 15 left to go in a half. We'll go out back into the corner to Clark. Clark brings it around underneath behind the goal. Back out. The Hogue. Hogue turns it over. Looks like he's going to put up a shot, but he's going to be stolen away.
Yeah, shot right into Azelby, and Azelby again was able to be right on the ground ball. He's just been a ground ball vacuum today.
Azelby bringing it out, takes a hard shot. So he tries to get up to his players, and he gets it on up over to Breacher. I think the Eastlake fans wanting a penalty.
No, a little bit of another hard shot by Lewis on Azelby.
Number 15 and number 50. And there's going to be another timeout. We'll take a break this time. Our score, Skyline 6, Eastlake 5. This is the 4A State Championship here on STSPN. And they got a quick pass. And then they move it down quickly to Paivis. Paivis into the corner. They got to shoot. 2 seconds left. Here comes Wallace. And that is going to do it. So at the end of the first half, it is Skyline 6, Eastlake 5. And Steve, we kind of thought this might be a close game. Has it lived up to your expectations so far?
Yeah, I was getting a little concerned when Skyline went up by 3, but Eastlake was able to get 2 equalizers and bring it back to within 1. So I think Coach O'Doherty is very happy with them getting it back within 1. I think they would have liked to have had a goal right before half there, but they're going to regroup. He's going to explain to them that, guys, we got to run our game. We got to run our offense. We're high-paced. It's time for us to get some ball control. I think at this point, Skyline's just had too much ball control. They've had the ball too much on the offensive end, and that's not Eastlake's game. Eastlake wants to get the ball more on their end, and they want to have more control and take advantage of those possessions.
All right, well, we'll find out what happens in the second half after a halftime break. We are at Starfire Sports Stadium for a Lacrosse championship here, and it is Skyline leading Eastlake 6-5. We'll be back. You're listening, or you're watching STSPN. And welcome back, Starfire Sports Stadium. It is the home of the 4A Boys Lacrosse Championship. And we got a good one. Skyline leading Eastlake 6-5. And Steve, what do you expect to see here in this second half?
Well, you started to see Eastlake starting to play a little bit more aggressive on the ground balls, which is what Coach Chris O'Doherty teaches them. And they made those 2 equalizers, and Skyline was kind of getting knocked off their game. So Skyline's looking to get back on track and control the ball, and Eastlake doesn't want that to happen. They want ball control. I think the key to the game is ball control for both of them.
And now Hoke coming in the face-off and takes it right downfield, runs up the middle. Nobody checks him at all, and he just rifles it in.
See, and I'm surprised that hadn't happened yet, because that's been Hoke all year long. He leads in goals. He leads in ground balls. He leads in face-off percentage. That's what he does. Gets the face-off, takes it down, and scores. Does it for the first time today.
And Eastlake just seemed like they parted the seas for him. Nobody checked him. He's right in front of the goal. And that's like putting a stake out for a hungry lion. It's going to be gobbled up.
Yeah, the first thing you learn in youth lacrosse is pick up ball.
So now face off, and this one on the ground, picked up by Hoke again. Hoke coming down. Does a little dodge and turns around, puts up a second goal. Ho, ho, ho. Makes it an 8-5 ball game. 2 goals within probably 30 seconds.
So that's what I was telling you, Perry, is that this is a fast game and you can score goals really fast, but if you don't pick up ball, that's what happens. And he's one of their best players on the team, and nobody's picking up ball on Eastlake.
Yeah, he had to do a little stick dodge, head dodge, zig and a zag, and he was right there again in front of the goal with an easy shot, and we'll have face-off number 3. We were saying he's one of the best face-off players in the state, and I would say in the first half he's about 50-50 whether he got control of him, but in the second half, nod goes to Skyline's Mr. Hoke, and now...
And that's a legal procedure on the Grizz.
And now that means it's going to be Skyline ball. Hoke passes back. They move the ball on out. Over to Lewis. Lewis on that right alley, trying to turn the corner. Trying to play out on. Gets it out in front of the Lanier. Lanier back out. Colbert. Lanier losing out back over to Clark. Clark over to Sala. Sala. Colbert. Colbert. Little shuffle step and trying to get an angle. Trying to get it across. And nope, he'll pass it back. Get it on over to Clark. Clark trying to get it across and up. He'll pass it back out to Hoke. Hoke picked up. No, he isn't. Puts a left-hand side. 3 goals in a row by Mr. Hoke. And Kellen Hoke put the Skyline Spartans on his back here in the second half. Scored 3 goals in less than 5 minutes.
Perry's senior, number 9, Hoke, he said, guys, I'm going. You just need to get on the boat with me.
Hear the chant, Kellen. Big crowd out here. Both schools.
Perry, I can tell you right now that Eastlake does not want to get that guy started.
No, well, I think the engine has started, and it is running at high RPM right now. Here comes face-off number 4. And Hoke comes up with it. No, on the ground. And still on the ground. We're pushing and shoving, and
Legal procedure on Skyline.
it's going to be legal procedure on Skyline this time, and so it'll be Eastlake possession. Down by 4 goals now. These possessions really get to be key now for Skyline, don't they?
Yeah, these two teams, they're very closely matched, and they do not want big differences in the goals or on the scoreboard. And so Eastlake needs to hit some equalizers and get back within one or equal the game, or, you know, tie the game up again. They can't get down by more than 4 goals. It's too much for them.
Sutter give it to Paivis. Paivis puts in a shot. I think, no, that went to Sutter. Sutter rocketed in a shot over the right corner, right over the shoulder of Kevin Haney.
So that's hat trick for Sutter on night.
Makes it a 9-6 game.
So nice give and go. Sutter passes it away, gets it back, finds top corner, goes high to high, and beats Kevin Haney.
Kazernik and Hoke now again face off. It's number 5 here in this 9:50 left to go in this third period. All right, referee sets the ball up. Then blow the whistle. Ball flying loose and coming up with it's going to be Lanier. And he puts on the Jets. He rings down the right-hand side and does shoot, but then passes in the back. Ball moving up. Moving around back to Hoke. Hoke over to Colbert. And then back over to Sala, who puts up what looked like it was going to be a shot, but into the side of the net. Eastlake now coming up with it and bringing it down. And moving, it's going to be Azelby, Joe Azelby. He's going to give it back to Morris, the goalie. Back up, and he gets it to Sutter. Sutter bringing it down. He scored the last goal for the Eastlake Wolves. He gets it on out, right-hand side over to Paivis. Paivis gets manhandled just outside the crease.
We got a flag.
Ooh, way away from the action. Looks like
I think we had an offside is what they're calling.
And looks like that is
offside, Skyline with possession.
it's against Eastlake, so Skyline possession.
Yeah, so offsides on Eastlake, gives the ball back to Skyline.
So here comes Hoke. Hoke bringing it down. Gets through 2 defenders. A little zig and a zag, a little dodge. Now gets in front of the goal. They don't want him there. He tries to pass on off over to Lanier. Hits the turf, but then picked up by his teammate. Bringing it back behind the goal is going to be Colbert. Colbert looking for some help. He's going to be chased around by Zimney. And there's a check ball going out. Bounds is going to be Eastlake ball. So here's a question for you. With this rain coming down, we've seen a little slipping and sliding, not much, but does that affect the shots and the ball at all?
Yeah, definitely. So with the net technology or the pocket technology now, water doesn't affect the pocket all that much, but it does affect the way that the ball comes out of the stick.
So Eastlake bringing it down. They get over to Wallace. Wallace behind the goal.
So what you'll find is it'll be a little bit slipperier, and so it won't get that whip that you would normally get. So you'll see shots that are high, and you'll see passes that are high.
Battling for it behind the goal is Breacher. Wallace, there's a shot, and there is a good save by Haney.
Nice low shot, foot stick save by Haney.
Here comes Eastlake again. Oaks trying to get it to Breacher, but rolls past, and right there to pick it up is Wallace. Wallace takes some checking. Putting pressure on him is Cone. Wallace goes right-hand side, or it might be left-hand side, I'm sorry. Out on top. Give it over to Sutter. Sutter looks to shoot. It's going to be high. So it's going to be, again, the Eastlake ball.
So you want to see on that one, you want Sutter to kind of extend his hands a lot more. He was shooting from low, and so he wasn't able to generate enough power on that ball and get it go down.
Breacher passes out in front and a long, hard shot off of the goalie, Haney. And that was number 4, Grzerdik. And ball goes out of bounds.
Shot goes out of bounds, backed up by Skyline.
It'll be
number 4.
Skyline ball.
Yeah, initially the referee was going to call it for Eastlake, but realized from one of the other referees that Skyline was actually first to the ball when it went out of bounds, so it's awarded to Skyline.
There's a good check. Ball on the turf. Eastlake trying to come up with it. Ball still rolling in the right direction. Coming up with it is number 50, and he puts it in the goal. That is great goal by Joe Azerby. He did a little stick dodge left and right. All of a sudden, it just had the goalie, Kevin Haney, to beat. And he put it in, and just like that, it's a 9-7 ball game. Just when you think that Skyline may be starting to run away with it, Eastlake says not so fast, and they come right back. Cut that deficit to 2.
You see Joe Azleby giving a stare down to Lewis saying, look, I just went down and scored. Skyline says, wait a second, we're still up by 2. You're not there yet.
Now another face-off. Oaken Grzerdik battling for it. Ball scrummaging around. Now on the ground. Either team able to get a net on it. And finally kicked out. Hope trying to get a control of it. And it's finally going to be Eastlake who comes up with it. And Azlerby, one that knocks it out. Gets it to his goalie.
Face-off ground ball by Azleby. He's been on fire on the face-off wing today.
Long pass downfield. And they get it on out over to Leslie, who just missed getting hard checked by one of the Skyline players. There's a shot, pass right in front, and it was perfect to Grzerdik, who launches it into the corner. And it's a 9-8 ball game.
The Grizz, who was able to secure the face-off and get it to Hoax, or for Azleby to pick it up, goes back down, gets the ball back, and is able to score.
9-8.
And Perry Eastlake's making this a ball game again.
Just looks like the momentum just kind of is a pendulum today, swinging one way and then the other.
The game is a game of runs, and that's exactly what's happening. As each team is going on these 2 or 3 goal runs, and the other team is coming right back.
You said, what, 7 goals so far in this half? My math right? And here's a face-off. Hoke and the Grizz battling for it. Grzerdik. And ball finally pops loose. And there's going to be Joe Azleby coming up with it for Eastlake. He brings it around. A little left and right dodge there. Chasing it down is Lanier. And Azleby is going to pass it out.
So I think that should be 6 goals on the half, because we went in 1 goal ahead, right?
Yeah,
One goal game.
So here comes Eastlake looking to tie it up. Pass it behind the goal. They get it out. Number 60, that can't be 64. I don't have 54. That's Orloff. Then out. Left-hand side is Breacher. Breacher getting checked, but does a little left and right move, and runs into 3 Skyline Spartans. Gets the pass off, and there's a shot by Wallace to tie it up. And that was a great pass by Breacher, past 3 Spartans to find Wallace right in top of the crease to get the shot off.
So Wallace with the equalizer ties up the game. Eastlake's looking to get the next goal so they can go up for the first time in the game.
You can hear the crowd in front of us. They're excited. We're all tied up 9 apiece.
Perry, these two teams are not disappointing. This is just an absolute battle right now.
I got to say, I'm a believer. This has been a whole lot of fun. This is into our second game of 4 here this afternoon. And another face-off. The Grizz and Hoke. Everybody waiting for that ball to come out. The scrum sitting there right between their both nets. Hoke moving his stick around. Grizz holding steady. Now there comes the ball coming loose, and Joe Azelby coming away with it for the Eastlake Wolves. He's going to pass it on up over to 28. That is going to be Leslie. Leslie passes over to Wallace. Wallace behind the net.
So again, Azelby's wing play has been the difference in this second half so far. I mean, he's just been on fire on the wing.
At one point, this was 9-5 ball game, but Eastlake's come back to tie it. Now Eastlake puts a shot, rolling shot to the right. And this, how big was that open, empty goal early in this ball game? It was in the Skyline.
Yeah, it was a weird way of setting the game up, weird first goal of the game, but it definitely wasn't a precursor to what this whole game is going to be about.
And there was a good defense that time by Skyline. They crunched the player in the back. I didn't see. I think that was Wallace that they checked, and now Skyline will bring it down. We're all tied up 9 apiece, 2:55 left to go in the third period. This is the 4A Boys Lacrosse Championship here at Tukwila. And, good check, and there's going to be a penalty there.
Yeah, so they're either going to get him from behind, a check from behind, or they're going to get him for withhold or holding.
Colbert, I think, saying he took a stick to the back of the head as he went down. And I think now Eastlake's going to be playing with a player down as somebody's going to do the penalty box. And is that a 44?
Yeah, you got Cam Miller in the box, and so what you're going to have is Puss with possession. And so he's going to serve some time for that. So you'll see Skyline man up again.
Okay, they'll be playing a man down. Get out Sala. Skyline just moving the ball around the goal. Lanier, DeSala, out on top. Trying to get that to Lewis. Lewis, the Hoke who rifles one that goes out of bounds.
So what Skyline's trying to do is they're trying to stretch the defense, and so if they can get someone to come out to the ball and then slide.
And there's a shot, but off the goalpost. And Eastlake again survives being a man down. And bringing it down quickly for Eastlake Wolves is Leslie. Leslie dodges. There's a check, ball loose on the ground, and we got players pushing and shoving.
Yeah, you're going to get a loose ball push on Eastlake against Hoke.
So Eastlake possession. Minute 48 left to go in the third period. We're all tied up 9 apiece. And bringing it down to Lewis. It's an on over to Lanier. Sala. Back over to Colbert. Colbert getting checked. Over to Hoke. Lewis. Lewis doesn't get a little dodge there, but doesn't take advantage of it. Now it goes to the left, trying to get it up and cross. Trying to find Sala. Sala just gets creamed in front of the goal. He had it for a moment, but I don't know who put the shot on him. I think that was number 28, and that would have been Brody Leslie, but just took Lewis off his feet. Here comes Eastlake, and that is Galvin Wallace. Little spin move and puts in the shot, and Eastlake, I think, has their first lead of the night.
That is their first lead of the night, Perry, for sure. And that's exactly what Chris Doherty wants to see.
Eastlake fans in front of us enjoy it.
The tides are definitely turning, but this is not what Skyline wants to have. They need to get possession back, and they need to turn the tides for themselves. They had control of most of the game.
That started off that great defensive check. And again, I'm going to give that credit to Leslie Brody. He ran right into Sam Sala, who was wide open in front of the goal, or was in front of the goal, ready to shoot, and he just was knocked off his feet. So another face-off here. 51 seconds left to go in the period. And Eastlake comes away with the ball, and here they come again. Here comes Joe Asleby. Asleby shoots, and it's in. And it's 11-9. What was a 4-point lead, 4-goal lead, is now a 2-goal deficit. Eastlake leading Skyline 11-9.
So again, Asleby gets the wing play, secures the face-off, finds Breacher, and just blisters one in the goal.
42 seconds left to go in the third period. Here are the Eastlake fans right in front of us. They're making a lot of noise. And here comes Hoke coming away with, well, now he does come away with, well, for a second, and it's taken away by Gazerdik. The Grizz comes away with it for Eastlake. He's going to get it on out. Gives it up to Breacher. Breacher did a little dodge in front of the goal, and he shoots, and it's a 12-9 lead for Eastlake.
So Perry, that's exactly what Chris O'Doherty wrote up. I can see him talking to his team at halftime saying, guys, we did not come out in the first half with any sort of passion. I want everybody to come out and leave everything on the field. You need to go after every single ground ball like it's your last ground ball, and that's what they've been doing. Hoke comes out and scores 3 straight goals. Eastlake says, no, we're not having any of that, and they come right back, even up the game, and now they're up by 3 goals themselves.
That's a 7-goal differential. Was getting 9-5 at one point. Now 12-9. And here's another face-off. And Mr. Hoke comes up with it. 10 seconds. He gets it off down to Clark. Clark passes it and goes out of bounds with 1 second, and I think he was expecting a player to zig, and he got a zag, and that ball just went to nobody and out of bounds, and they'll have time to just throw this in, and clock will stop. And Eastlake happy with their 3 periods of play, and boy, what a swing in 1 period of play. It is Eastlake 12, Skyline 9. This is the 4A Lacrosse Championship right here on STSPN. And welcome back here to Starfire Sports Stadium, our final period of play in the boys 4A Lacrosse Championship. It is Eastlake leading Skyline 12-9. And wow, what a period. It was 10 goals scored in that third period. It was at 6-5 to half, Skyline leading Eastlake. And Eastlake has scored 7 unanswered goals, Steve.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, I thought after those first 3 goals that Skyline scored that Eastlake was starting to falter, and they just had an answer. They didn't just have an answer. They shut the door on that answer.
So there's the face-off, and coming away with it is going to be Skyline. Skyline passing on out to Sala. They move the ball around and get it up to Hoke. Hoke scoring the first 3 goals of the half, and it looked like Skyline was going to walk away with this. And Hope passes it out of bounds. And you're down by 3 goals. Those kind of mistakes can come back to haunt you. So Eastlake will take possession. And as we've seen, 3 goals, I don't think I would feel comfortable sitting on a 3-goal lead. And that ball is going to be knocked loose. Coming away with it is Skyline. And Marcus Ball coming away with it. We go right-hand side over to Sala. Sala being chased by Brian Straw. Sala pass it out. Get out the right-hand side over to Colbert.
No, Perry, in this sport in lacrosse, I mean, a 4-goal or a 3-goal deficit, you know, with the speed of the game does not lend itself to any sort of safety, and especially with these 2 teams, neither of them can feel safe with a 4-goal, even a 5-goal lead.
And there is Hoke. Hoke, takes a shot right in the head, and ball right in front of the Eastlake goal. There's a scrum. Ball pops out and loose, still rolling on the ground, and they're going to be Skyline possession.
So, Perry, I saw at least 2 shots in the head there, and they call a loose ball push.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're letting them play a little bit here.
Yeah, to say the least.
Sala brings it in for Skyline. Trying to bring it around. Now he'll pass out. Gets it up to Sala. Sala out there over to Colbert. Colbert. He may have an opportunity. Now a little arc pass over to Sala, and it's up and in. Got right over the arms of Morse, the goalie, right over his shoulder.
I mean, that wasn't a great pass. That was fantastic hands by Sala to even corral that ball, let alone get off a shot. Just completely turned around backwards, was able to kind of dump it over his shoulder. Goalie didn't have a chance.
12-10 our score now. Eastlake by 2 goals. And it has been back and forth. We've got more. We got 2 more games after this. So if you're enjoying this, we've got more coming your way. Here comes the face-off. Zerdick and Hoke. And Hoke coming away with it. He's running forward, and he puts up a shot. This time it's high. Kind of reminiscence of this beginning of the second half, where you get the ball and just run straight down the field and shoot.
Yeah.
That time off mark, but it will be Skyline ball. And inbounding, it will be Lewis. Lewis. Do a little stick dodge. It's down to Clark, and there's a shot by Colbert. Caden Colbert puts it into the corner, and it is up and good, or in and good, right?
So that's exactly what Lewis was looking for. Is Lewis was looking for the slide or the double team, and he was able to get a slide, lose his man, and he was able to do a skip pass and find Colbert on the top, and Kalen Colbert just rips one from the top, finds the back of the net.
12-11.
Perry, this is what you call the seesaw battle.
Yeah, it definitely is. I even hate to think about it, but what are the rules in lacrosse on overtime?
Sudden death.
12-11. Eastlake leading by a goal. Here's a face-off. Zerdick, he comes away with it this time, gives it a boot. Well, he had it for a moment, but right there is Skyline. Ball coming out. Oh, still rolling around. Hoke puts a big shot into somebody. Now bodies on the turf and coming away with it is Wallace for the Eastlake Wolves.
Perry, these guys are not leaving anything on the field. They know this is the last game of the season. This is the championship. They both have a championship apiece. This is all or nothing for them.
All right, here come the Wolves. Breacher has it on the left-hand side, bringing it to the left alley. For somebody to move up. Now he goes back, now comes forward. Gets it on out, over to Sutter. Sutter, I think, was 3 goals so far tonight, or this afternoon. Gets it back to Breacher. Breacher. Back to Sutter. Right-hand side, and they're trying to get to Grizdick. No, here's the Grizz. Grizz, left to right dodge. They go back to Wallace. Wallace behind the goal in the X. To Grizz. To Sutter, moving the ball around. And ball knocked loose. Coming away with it, number 27, David Voigt for the Skyline Spartans. Breacher trying to battle. And ball gets knocked loose, and Eastlake's going to come up with it for a moment. They're getting on up, out to Orloff. Orloff zigs and zags. He loses it. Good defense, both teams knocking the ball away from each other.
Yeah, Perry, they are letting them play. There's a lot of slashes in there.
And we got a timeout called. So with 7:36 left to go in this ball game, and it's Eastlake 12, Skyline 11. This is the 4A Boys Lacrosse Championship right here on STSPN. Welcome back. Starfire Sports Stadium, 7:36 left to go in this ball game. And it's been a great lacrosse game. Eastlake leading Skyline 12-11. And lead is changed back and forth. Both teams have had pretty good leads at one point, but have then struggled to come back. And it's a 1-goal ball game right now. This is the 4A Boys Lacrosse Championship. And we are set and ready to go for the final 7 minutes and 36 seconds. Officials ready to get this thing going after the timeout. I'm Perry Williams along with Steve Sawyer, and it's going to be Skyline possession. Hoke has it for Skyline. We give it up to Lanier. Lanier, right-hand side, over to Sela. Sela trying to cut the corner in, but right there on him is Straw for Eastlake. Be up to Colbert. Back to Hoke. And to Colbert. Colbert looking to do something with it. He'll get back out to Hoke. Hoke. Back to Sutter. Sutter goes back to Sela behind the goal, and they'll pass it back out to Hoke. Hoke takes a stick check and a poke check. Cam Miller on that. Sela, see me bringing it around. DeHoek to Sutter, moving the ball, trying to find an opening. Here comes Sutter, slashes in, ball gets knocked loose. Eastlake comes up with it. And that was Cam Miller. Miller gets it on up down the field to number 9, Straw, and they put up a shot. It's going to be into the goalie's hands, Mr. Morse. Isaac Morse, and a big save there.
Oh, Perry, perfect opportunity for Eastlake on that, and Kevin Haney just absolutely stuffs him.
Excuse me, Haney, yeah, you're right. That was a big save. Now, is there a penalty there? Polk holding up his stick. Sutter coming out now. Colbert will have it for Skyline Spartans. Colbert being chased. Colbert bringing the right-hand side. He's going to pass back to Sala. Sala coming around, turns around, puts a shot up. It's going to be wide and goes to the back, and it'll still remain Skyline possession. And now bringing it down is going to be Clark. Clark behind the goal comes around, and he gets the ball checked away, and Eastlake comes up with it. And Alex Straw, big defensive play down. They give it up to Breacher for Eastlake. Breacher bringing it down for the Wolves. And we're going to have a timeout called. 4:57 left to go in this ballgame. Don't go anywhere. Eastlake 12, Skyline 11. This is the boys 4A state championship here on STSPN. Welcome back. Just less than 5 minutes left in this championship ball game, 4A championship, and Eastlake leading by a goal. Eastlake calling timeout. Steve, what do we expect here in this next 5 minutes?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question because we've seen pretty much everything in this game, but you definitely want to see, Skyline wants to get back on their game plan, and they want to control the ball and they want to move the ball. They need to get Eastlake off of their game. But, Eastlake gets to start with the ball, and if they can put another one in cage, they're going to put a lot of pressure on Skyline.
So Eastlake will have it. Breacher on the right-hand side. Get it on top to Sutter. Sutter over to Griztek. Grizz bringing the right-hand side. Gets around one defender. Passes back over to Wallace. Wallace up to Breacher. To Paivis. To Sutter, just moving the ball around the goal. Here comes Grizz on the right-hand side, puts it in the middle, and a backhanded shot by Breacher. It's up and in. Makes it 13-11.
Perry, when I saw that pass, I thought Breacher was just going to carry it back to X and they were going to just set up again. And no, he turns around and does a back shovel shot into the goal. Come on.
That was nice. 13-11. 4:13 left to go in the ball game, and that did two things. Not only did it get the goal, but they had a lot of time doing it.
Yeah, now they're definitely putting pressure on Skyline. That's exactly what they want to have happen. Now they want to control the ball. They would like to put a couple more in, but it's all about ball control at this point.
All right, another face-off. The Grizz and Hoke. It's been an interesting battle all afternoon long. And these possessions now real key for Skyline. Ball running loose. Skyline chasing after it along with Eastlake. Ball still loose. And it's going to go all the way. Oh, back to the goalie who gets tripped. Ball still loose. I don't think anybody's yet had a handle on it.
Wow, I'm surprised that there was not a trip call on that.
And we've got a Skyline Spartan on the turf. Looks shaken up.
I see at least 2 checks in the legs on that play.
And that player is going to be attended to.
It looks like David Vogt might have gotten his knees taken out from under him. I hope that he didn't get a knee on that one.
No, hopefully it's bruised and walk off. Well, this is, we mentioned before, as they're attending the player, this is the second of 4 games we're doing here on STSPN. And this is the 4A championship coming up at 4:30. We've got the 1A, 2A, Vashon and Liberty. That'll start at 4:30. And then later on tonight, 7:30, the private school O championship, O'Day and Seattle Prep. So if you enjoyed this, we've got a lot more championship lacrosse right here on STSPN. And the young man still be attended to. Hopefully it is something minor. Yeah, both teams going to the benches. He gets up and he's getting a nice round of applause from both fans. Eastlake fans giving him, and that's that at 27.
Yeah, it's Vogt. That David Vogt.
Okay, you're right.
It's definitely something with his knee, though. I saw the trainers like messing with his knee, and clearly he's favoring one of those legs coming off the field. So that's probably all we're going to see of Vogt tonight.
Hate to see that. Hopefully it is something minor and he's going to be helped off by his teammates. This game has gone back and forth. Skyline had at one point in this second half a 4-goal lead. They led 9-5. Eastlake then scored 7 unanswered goals. And then Skyline scored 2 to get back into this. And it's 13-11 as we sit now with just under 4 minutes, 3:51 left to go on the clock.
Coming out of the timeout, injury timeout, the call is loose ball push on Eastlake. Skyline with possession, number 9, Kellen Hoke.
Kellen Hoke will pick the ball up to start the possession after the injury. So you start the clock, and here comes Hoke. Hoke gets checked, takes a couple of checks, but gets it over midfield. Brings on the right-hand side. Hoke, trying to pass it off over to Sala, and that one a little bit wide.
Yeah, Perry, that's the second time that Hoke's done that, where he's just thrown it out of bounds with just a bad pass after working so hard to transition the ball down the field, and then just to pass it out of bounds. Just kills the coach.
Brian Straw now, gets a big push out of bounds, but the ball's going to Eastlake.
So that one's definitely a push from behind. So they got number 20, or number 20 got pushed from behind. Or no, I guess he pushed it.
They're giving it to Eastlake, no penalty. He got pushed, but I didn't. It's going to be Skyline ball. Now behind the basket or the goal is Sala. Sala brings it on out over to Colbert. Colbert getting pressure. The setter, Sala. They move behind the goal now. Sala has it. Gets a screen by Lewis. Bringing it around, trying to turn the corner is Sala, but he won't. Then he gets it up to Hoke. Hoke fires in a rocket, but right there to the goalie, Morse. And this is into the crease, and
Skyline shot saved.
So when the goalie has a clamp like that, the defensive or the offensive player cannot interfere with the goalie scooping the ball, and that's exactly what the defensive player did, or the offensive player. Not only that, he stepped into the crease.
Eastlake penalty, 1 minute for slashing. Skyline will be met.
1 minute penalty with 2:42 left to go, and this was against who?
Oh, apparently there was a slash on that play, and they didn't talk about the interference with the goalie.
So, okay, I think the Skyline would have or Eastlake would be a man down. I think they got everybody on the field. So Skyline has possession. And there's Colbert puts it up, and right there to save it is Isaac Morris. The great save. Loses it, takes a check, the ball gets loose, and right there is Colbert, picks up the loose ball and fires it into the net.
No, so Eastlake definitely was man down. There was a penalty on the play for the slash, and they got the ball back and they were killing the penalty, but then all of a sudden you had they lost sight of the ball, and the goalie got hit, passed the ball out. Skyline was able to pick it up and find the open goal.
Goalie, once he gets out of that crease, he's fair game, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. And, defender is allowed to go in there and try to stop the ball as well, and the defender was there, but they don't have a stick as big as the goalie, and it's just too hard sometimes. And so Skyline was able to find open net and get the ball in the net. So now they're within one again.
Boy, this might be the most important face-off in this ball game. 2:15 left to go. 13-12. Eastlake with a 1-goal lead. And Hoke comes up with it. Hoke driving to the goal. Passes on the left-hand side. Over to Clark. Clark to Colbert. Colbert getting pressure. Ball gets knocked loose. Excuse me, that was Lewis. It's in behind the goal. And Eastlake comes up with it. Eastlake.
And again, there's number 50, Azel, be on the ball with the hardcore ground ball.
And now they bring it down to Gazurdik. And Eastlake's clock is their friend, and Gazurdik just gets hammered from behind.
Yeah, you're definitely going to push from behind on that one. Oh, but they got the timeout in, so I don't know if they're going to get that call.
It's a tough one. So with 1:40 left to go in this ball game, why don't we keep it right here? Eastlake with a goal lead and possession. Steve, you're the coach for both teams. What are you telling your teams here?
So first off, you got 1:40. You have a goal lead, so now you're going to settle the ball. You're going to run your offense. You need to stretch the Skyline defense. You need to get them to come out and try to make a play on you, because then that's when you're going to get the long slides. That's when you're going to get the long double teams, and that's when you're going to get the mismatches, and you're going to be able to find that easy pass for a score. But this is where they don't want to. They want to settle down, but they don't want to take their foot off the pedal. They're not going to just sit on their laurels and try to sit on this 1-goal lead, but they're going to look for the smart pass and the smart play, and they're going to look to score.
Skyline, if you're the Skyline coach and you're down by a goal, what are you telling them?
You're telling guys, you got to be quick on the slides. You cannot be, if you're going to slide, you're going to slide, and you're going to slide fast. You got to be there, and you got to be there quick.
So 1:40, Eastlake possession. They're up by a goal. And it's going to be Sutter with possession for Eastlake. He brings it around to the X, getting checked. Right there with him is Beckmeyer. Sutter just content to pass it back and forth, gets it over to Breacher. Breacher, he's going to pull it out. 1:18. Breacher, a little zig and zag and a dodge, and takes a headbutt, goes to the turf. Oh, my goodness. A headbutt. That was Steve Busey.
Either Breacher was warding off the defensive player, or that defensive player from Skyline was holding Breacher's arm. I don't know what happened on that one, but Breacher took a shot in the solar plexus.
Now Skyline will take a timeout. And so with that, why don't we take our break here? Eastlake leading this one 13-12. This is the 4A Boys Lacrosse Championship here on STSPN. Sports Stadium. Less than a minute, 59 seconds left to go. It's going to be Skyline possession. They're down by a goal. They need a goal to tie it. This is the 4A Boys Lacrosse Championship. This has been a great game.
Perry, everybody in this entire stadium's on their feet.
Hoke has it on the right wing. Puts it out on top to Sutter. Sutter over to Colbert. Get it on out over to Clark. 41 seconds to Colbert. Back to Sala. Sala. Oh, they miss it. Trying to get that one out to Lewis. And Eastlake comes up with it.
And who is it but number 50, Joe Hazelby?
Hazelby bringing it down. 24 seconds, and he takes a push in the back. He'll get it on out over to Wallace. Wallace being chased. Spartans need to corral him. And he's just playing keep away. And he's quick. 8 seconds, 7 seconds, 5 seconds. He takes a shot. He's going to hold on to it. Eastlake's going to win this one. 13-12. Eastlake Wolves win the 4A state championship. Wow, what a game.
Whoa, that was absolutely crazy.
And what a half for the Eastlake Wolves, down 9-5. And I thought this one was gone. I thought the train had left the station and they were way behind. But no, it came right back.
No, and you come out of half, you're only one goal down, but then the best player on the opposite team, Skyline Hope, comes out and scores 3 straight goals. And you're just sitting there going, what is going on? And then all of a sudden they said, no, we're not done. We're going to score 7 straight goals. We're going to take the lead, and we're going to hold on to that lead the rest of the game.
And, yeah, they did. And they against a very tough and determined Skyline team. And I'm looking a couple of the Eastlake Wolves and Skyline Spartans giving each other a hug. And this was a very physical game. Now the student body coming out to congratulate their fans. Let's go! And we get one young man with one leg and crutches, but he's hopping along to get out there with his friends.
Yeah, this is a great sport. The community of lacrosse is an amazing community. It's just so close-knit. Everybody is so into it, and everybody is so for the sport. It's just nice to see battles like these, and these two teams have seen each other quite a bit. They know each other really well, and they fight each other hard every time. They met earlier this year. That was a 1-goal game. This championship is a 1-goal game. It's exactly what you expect, but Eastlake comes away the victors.
Wow, 13-12, and that gave all the fans their money's worth here on the what you expect from a championship game. And hey, we're just halfway done here today on STSPN. We've got 2 more games to do right here from Starfire Sports Stadium in Tukwila at 4:30 this afternoon, and just about a little over an hour. We'll have Vashon versus Liberty. That is the 1A, 2A championship. And Steve, what just quick thoughts on the upcoming game?
Well, first off, you're going to have to get me an AED, because after 2 games like that, I'm going to have a heart attack and I'm going to need to be resuscitated, because this has been absolutely crazy. But with Vashon and Liberty, I mean, I don't know that much about these 2 teams coming into the game, so I'm going to go have some conversations with the coaches when they get here on the sidelines. But I think you're going to see another great battle. I mean, you see 2 teams that I know haven't seen each other a ton, and so you're basically going to see, they need to run their game just like everybody's saying. Coach needs to settle them down. I don't think there's a lot of experience. There's definitely not experience in the championships with Liberty, so it's going to be one of their first times coming in. And they can't let the grandeur and the excitement of the championship get to you. You got to settle down. You got to do your game plan, and you got to run it the way Coach taught you.
Well, we'll be right there to cover all the action. And again, wow, this was an exciting one here from Starfire Sports Stadium. And as the Eastlake Wolves defeat the Skyline Spartans 13-12 for the 4A championship. And again, we've got 2 more games coming your way. Are on the air. We'll be on the air probably about 4:25 for our next game. And so with that, should we wrap it up, guys? All right, so from here, Starfire Sports Stadium, and again, Eastlake winning this one 13-12 in an exciting ball game. For Steve Sawyer, I'm Perry Williams. This has been Playoff Championship Lacrosse here on STSPN.